guys, Darth Deuces here with a Star Wars action figure review, and I actually have a 3 3/4 inch Star Wars action figure review for you. And it is Mandalore the Indomitable from the Fett Legacy 3-pack that was released, man, quite a few years ago now. I think it came out in 2007, 2008, somewhere around there. Essentially, you got 3 figures. You got a Jango Fett, which I think is the same Jango Fett that was in the Vintage Collection, or really close to it. You got Boba Fett, which has seen multiple releases. The one I have is from the Vintage Collection, but I'm pretty sure it's the same one that came in this pack. And you got Mandalore the Indomitable, which was definitely the most unique figure out of that pack, probably the most desirable as well. I picked them up locally from someone who was selling them online. Got them for $20, which I think is a pretty good deal. I think he's worth about that. Maybe worth a little more. I think it's a good deal though. This figure I've been wanting for a while. Just super cool. He's one of the very few figures that they made in sort of that Old Republic XR Kun era. Because I think the only figures they've made that are really from like the Great Sith War sort of stories was this guy, and then Ula Keldroma and XR Kun. I think they're the only ones, so that's pretty cool. He's from a very unique sort of time. I wish they would have made more of them, those figures like Nomi Sunrider and stuff like that. I have read some of those comics. I have a trade for the Sith War, which Mandalore was prominently featured in. He was obviously leader of the Mandalorians. He was defeated in combat by Ulic Qel-Droma, so he ended up serving Ulic Qel-Droma, and his Basic War Droid crashed on one of the moons of Onderon, and he was killed by the beasts, presumably. And someone else finds his mask and becomes Mandalore the Ultimate. But anyways, enough of that. Let's take a close look at the figure. And this is a figure that was released a while ago when 3 3/4 inch figures were still super articulated and had pretty damn good sculpts. And this guy's a really good sculpt. He has the ancient Mandalore mask on, which is super cool. He's got like this brownish, reddish color going on with some darker spots where like the armor is and the straps are, and lighter where it's fabric. The mask's really nice. See if I can get the focus. There we go. It's got like a shiny reddish brown visor, which is cool. Come on. There we go. Come on, stop. There we go. You got the armor here, which is really cool. Goes over his shoulders. And he has multiple like pipes or whatever funneling into his mask. Got one there, and one that hooks into the back. I don't know if they unplug from there or not. I don't want to try because I want to break the figure. It does limit some of his head movement, but it's not too bad. The sculpt of the clothes look really good. It's got the armor there on his arms. Got some gold paint apps on the gauntlets there. Gauntlets are very nicely sculpted. Got armor going on there too as well. Here's a soft goods little cape thing, which just goes on like down like that, which is pretty cool. It's made of a decent material, flows well, looks pretty good. Got the belt there, which not too much going on there. Got the little loincloth thing made of a pretty pliable plastic, so it doesn't really hinder any movement, which is good. Got some more armor, straps and whatnot. Got some black wash all over the figure to bring out the details, which is awesome. You don't get too much black washing anymore on figures. And then the boots. So yeah, pretty cool looking figure. I really like the ancient Mandalore sort of looks. And I'm really happy to finally have this Mandalore figure. They're just really badass looking. In terms of articulation, he has a ball joint in the head, like I said. There's not really much up and down movement, and rotation is hindered somewhat by the tubes, so you have to be careful with that. Ball hinges at the shoulders move pretty well. They go all the way out, so that's good. And they rotate. They are hindered a bit by the shoulder armor. They don't go as far forward as maybe one would like. Ball hinges at the elbows, which could bend a little more, but they're not too bad. And swivels at the wrists, swivel at the waist here, swivels at the hips, and ball hinge knees and ball hinge ankles. So he has a lot of articulation, especially for today's standards for 3 3/4 inch figures. He is super articulated, so that's super cool. And he also comes with some accessories, so I have some of them on him. So he has his shield here, which is nicely sculpted and painted. Got a nice black wash to bring out all the details. And it has a strap that his arm goes through, and then there's also a handle for him to hold. So that's how he does that. He also comes with his big battle axe, which is super cool. I like this a lot. Got silver paint for the blade, which has like all these notches and nicks out of it, which is really cool. And you got like the brownish and straps and whatnot for the grip and whatnot. He has a strap here, which you could probably sling over his arm if you wanted to. So that's really cool. He has a decent grip on it, and it's a little loose in some spots, but at the same time, it's not like it's gonna fall out. Like, it wobbles in there, but it's not falling out. So that's good. And I'm putting him down here. He also comes with this spear thingy. Come on. Which, if I remember correctly, it is also like his blaster thing, like it's a spear, but he can also shoot laser blasts out of it, if I remember the comic correctly. That's pretty cool. Got some nice sculpting details. You got the little strap thing, which I guess you could also sling over his shoulder if you wanted to, though it would be difficult with his armor. And it has some gold paint apps on the end, which is pretty cool. In terms of storage for his weapons, the shield you'll probably just have him holding anyways. The axe you could sling over his shoulder, but it'd be a bit difficult because of the shoulder armor. Not really anywhere to put the spear, but what I have found you can do, flipping his cape up here, he has a little kind of space between his straps right there, and you can slide the spear between these straps, and actually stores it quite nicely and doesn't look bad at all. So if you want to do that, it definitely works out and looks pretty decent, so that's cool. Overall, this is a really cool figure. It's not an essential part of a collection, that's for sure. It's a more obscure character. But if you're a fan of the Old Republic, and definitely if you're a Mandalorian collector, this is a must-have. Definite recommend. It doesn't go for too much. Like I said, I got mine for 20, and I think if you wait it out and keep looking on eBay and whatnot, you should be able to find one for about that price as well. But I do think he goes for a little more. Depends on the seller, obviously, depends on the time. But it's a really cool figure, and if you're a Mandalorian collector, I highly recommend it. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. May the Force be with you.